Hello and a warm welcome to you all. This is part 4 of the discussion on forgiveness. In our previous discussion, we saw the importance of rendering forgiveness to other people, offering ourselves the gift of forgiveness, and seeking forgiveness from other people. And in this discussion, we are going to be highlighting a beautiful biblical story that exemplifies the importance of forgiveness. Now, in this channel, we offer you practical tips and strategies to enable you to live up to your higher purpose and also to be able to achieve success and greatness in your life. The other thing that we like to do is we like to include real life stories because I believe there's no better way of illustrating a lesson than by use of a story. So in Genesis chapter 45, we see the story about Joseph and his brothers. But let us recap the events that preceded this, which is recorded in Genesis chapter 37. So Joseph was the 11th born son of Jacob. Joseph had 11 siblings, 10 from his stepmother, Leah, and one sibling from his own mother, Rachel. And we are told there are certain things that happened that made Joseph's brothers jealous of him and also to dislike him. Now, one of the things that happened is that at one point, Joseph was with his brothers taking care of flock of sheep in the field. But when he returned home, he brought a bad report about his brothers to his own father Jacob. The second thing is that Joseph happened to be his father's favorite son. And because of that, Jacob made his son Joseph a beautiful coat of many colors. And this made his brothers very jealous of him and they hated him. And the third thing that happened is that Joseph had two dreams that implied he would rule over his brothers. And when he told his brothers about his dream, they were offended and they became even more jealous of him and they hated him all the more. So one fine day, Jacob sent his son, Joseph, to go look out on his own brothers and find out about their welfare. They were in the field taking care of sheep, and Jacob wanted to know whether they were faring on well or not. So he sent Joseph. So Joseph left and went in search of his brothers. But before he reached where they were, they saw him coming. An evil thought came over their mind. Because of the jealousy they had, because of the hatred they had towards him, they plotted to get rid of him and get rid of his dreams. So the first thing they wanted to do was to kill him. But on the second thought, they thought of throwing him into a pit. But before they threw him into the pit, they stripped him of his beautiful coat of many colors. Then they threw him into the pit. Fortunately for Joseph, and by God's favor, there was no water in the pit, so Joseph did not drown. And shortly after, we are told that there are some people who were ready to buy slaves, and Joseph's brothers thought of selling Joseph to Egypt. We are told they sold him off for 20 shekels of silver. And the other thing that Joseph's brothers did was to conceal their wrongdoing. So they slaughtered a goat and smeared Joseph's coat with blood. And when they went to their father, they managed to convince him that a ferocious animal had devoured Joseph, his son. And we are told that Jacob was in anguish and he mourned for many days because of the loss of his son. Now, in chapter 45, we see the unfolding events where Joseph's brothers come over to Egypt and they meet for the very first time with Joseph, whom they sold. So there was famine in the land of Egypt, and there was famine in the land of Canaan, where Joseph's brothers and his father used to live. And so Jacob had asked his sons to go over to Egypt and try and buy some food. And guess what? When they reached in Egypt, guess who was in charge of selling the grain to them? It was Joseph, their brother. At this point, Joseph had risen in the rank to become the prime minister over Egypt. And we are told that Pharaoh had entrusted everything to Joseph. So Joseph was second in command to Pharaoh. And God had used Joseph to preserve grain in Egypt for the famine which was predicted to last 7 years. And so in Egypt, there was abundance of grain. For the first time in many, many years, Joseph's brothers met with their brother. But so much had happened, they could not recognize Joseph. But Joseph recognized all of them right away. If it was any other ordinary person, Joseph could have taken that as the perfect moment to become the payback moment. He could have declined to offer them food and they could have starved to death. He could have utilized his authority to send them to jail for their evil deeds. But Joseph decided to do the extraordinary thing. He decided to be kind towards his brothers. Initially, he disguised himself, but at the end, he had to reveal his identity. And you can imagine how terrified his brothers were when they learned that the person in charge of Egypt, the prime minister of the land, and the one in charge of food distribution was the brother they sold. They felt their past evil deeds had come to haunt them indeed. And Joseph saw it in their eyes. And he reassured them that he was not angry with them and he did not intend to harm them or hurt them in any way. He told them that he was just so glad to be reunited with them. And he offered them abundance of food and gifts. And he even gave them lots of gifts to take to their father back at home. It is Joseph who invited them over and welcomed them to come to the land of Egypt because the famine was going to last for too long. So it is Joseph who guided them in the land of Egypt so that they could be given the best land, the land of Goshen by Pharaoh. And while in the land of Goshen, Joseph voluntarily provided for all his family members. He took care of them. So what did Joseph tell his brothers at the point they came over to him with a need? Number one, he told them not to be troubled in their hearts about their previous mistakes, about their previous evil deeds. Joseph said that he understood that it's God who had ordered his journey to Egypt and that he had gone ahead of his brothers so as to preserve lives. He made it very clear to them that he was not harboring any grudge against them. He was not angry and bitter towards them. And his actions showed the very same things that he said. Joseph chose the moment which for many people would have been the payback moment. He chose that moment to become the moment of healing and reconciliation with his family. He took that moment to be the moment to rebuild the broken relationship between him and his brothers. So Joseph chose to forgive and embrace his brothers who had hurt him so badly in the past, and to treat them well and show them kindness. So what a beautiful story with a happy ending. Following a selfless act of forgiveness. No wonder Joseph was great in the whole of the land of Egypt throughout his life. So let's learn to forgive. Let's incorporate forgiveness as a key ingredient of who we want to become. Let forgiveness heal us, heal our families and our communities. Thank you very much. I hope this discussion was of help to you. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. My name is Anne Muli. Hope to see you in the next discussion.